Hey, it's Yalanda at DryerBuzz, and of course, 27 Answers. And we hope that you are loving and enjoying listening and learning with these 27 Answers series. If this is your first, check the playlist because there are and certainly will be several others. This one it gets, no matter where I go, the minute I say this phrase, it gets buzz. It creates buzz because so many of us have the same problem when it comes to negotiating our price, our worth. And so what we're going to do in this particular one is help you get to your sweet spot price, that number. And in this one, 27 answers to negotiate free. We are often, this is a pain point for everybody. I hear this everywhere I go, on every level of building entrepreneurs, startups, and so forth, trying to figure out how much to charge, when to charge, how to barter, how to collaborate, and so forth. And a lot of times we find ourselves in the circles where people want you to do something for free. On the other side of free, there is monetized. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as it relates to free. And we're going to talk about, this is my favorite word of all, because if you can't understand where you need to get to in your price, you've got to first understand what it is you need to reimburse. Reimbursement. Look it up. Google it, write it on your wall, put it on your dry erase board, put it on your blackboard. Because when you understand that concept and how it relates to your pricing, how it relates to negotiating, how it gives you the confidence to say who you are and what your worth is and how much you should earn off of what it is you're doing. A mentor once said to me, and that mentor was Pam Perry, and I call it the Pam Perry theory. And she says, ask for it and don't blink. So let's get into this conversation that we're going to have. 27 answers to negotiate free, Free. So grab a pen and pencil, write this down because I need you to visualize it throughout your listening, because I know you turn this video on, set your phone or your favorite device down, and you're listening, maybe you're driving and so forth. But I need you to have this visual in your eyes, in your sight line while listening. And often I'm going to refer to it, and often I want you to look at it. I want you to, this is going to build your confidence. This is that foundation. This is that block that you're going to stand on when you begin to ask for what you need. And no, don't blink. All right, free. We're going to break it down. As we break down a lot of words, you're going to find that is the tone of a lot of what we do, because to gain an understanding, it helps me. And I think it helps everybody else, but this particular one is what people love. Every time I say it at an event, I come back and I find it all up and down my timeline because it resonates with a lot of people, especially if your pain point is negotiating. All right, so free, Free, fully reimburse each expense. You will stop having a conversation or stop losing your way in negotiating when you understand that at the end of your day, at the end of the day, you need to fully reimburse each expense. And first and foremost, you have to understand what the expense is on each and everything that you do, and that there is an expense. And the only time you have a conversation with someone who doesn't understand that everything in this life, even free stuff, has an expense, if not a cost, if not a price, there still is an expense. And not just time, there is a monetary expense on every single thing. And the way to understand that, I want you to think every time you hear the word free, if it's not you, I want you to wonder who. If it's not you, I want you to wonder who at the end of the day is going to fully reimburse each expense. I asked, one of the ways I go by doing this and helping people to realize and understand it, I asked, well, how much does it cost to use social media? Each and every time, without fail, people would tell me it costs nothing. It's absolutely free. There's no charge. No, don't mistake that. At the end of the day, there is a cost associated with that, and somebody somewhere is writing the check. They're usually called funders, advertisers, sponsors, promoters, not promoters, but sponsors. Somebody at the end of the day is reimbursing the cost. Okay, if it's not you, always wonder who, because that follow the money trail. And because the person who is writing the check, who's really writing the check at the end of the day, they control it. They control whatever it is that you're going to get for free. And a lot of times when businesses give something for free for promotional items, that's where the promoter was coming in, for promotional items, they're usually able to reimburse that expense through the sale. If you get a sale out of it, naturally that's going to reimburse the expense. Everything above and beyond the expense and the liabilities of it, then that comes to your profit. But you can't even consider a profit on something unless you've reimbursed the expenses. And until you really truly understand that in everything that you do has an expense to it, then you will become better at negotiating, and you'll understand that it's okay to do some things for free, because not always is the person or the entity or the event or whatever you're going to do something free for, not always will the money or the reimbursement or any money that you're going to make come from what it is that you're doing. You may be able to, at some point or after that, monetize it some other way, thereby reimburse the expense and then what's left over, and also generating a profit from that. So again, 27 answers to fully reimburse each expense so free. So what I want to get you to a point of is not be afraid of doing something for free, but to become a better negotiator in that. In the pushback, people ask me all the time, well, how do I answer that? Well, one, especially, it goes down in the DM a lot. People will inbox and they'll ask you different things. And a lot of times people feel like that when they encounter these situations, they feel like the other person is undermining their business model. Is your business model clear? Is what you do in your business, how you generate your business, how you work with other people, is it clearly defined? Is it clearly obvious? I know we get a lot of it in blogging. Artists get it a lot. Entertainers get it a lot. Especially, what they usually hear on the other side of that free thing, exposure. Exposure. Sometimes you have to do things for exposure. Sometimes it's good to do things for exposure if that exposure puts you in front of an audience or a customer or something like that you might not ordinarily have access to, but there's still an expense to that. And here's your number one pushback. And bottom line, here's your number one pushback, because you want it. Mindset, write that down. Mindset. You want to make sure that anybody that you're going to do something free for, that they have the right mindset going in, because you don't want to. And what most people do is after the fact, they got a little attitude. They feel like their business model that was undermined, their integrity, the integrity was challenged and so forth. But go into it with the right mindset. Even if you do it for free or exposure, can you monetize it later, and can you reimburse those expenses? So make sure that anybody that you're going to do something for free for, that they have the right mindset. You don't want to, here's how you tell. I always tell people, if their apologies, I'm turning my page, hopefully you're turning yours too, write this down. Apologies, disclaimers, side effects, okay? That's how you know when doing something for free is good or not good. Do you have to give a disclaimer? Okay, we want you to do this, but, or side effects, it doesn't feel good. If it does not feel good, then don't do it. Stop. And it's the better thing. Even if you have to leave somebody hanging, because what'll happen is that will occupy space in your mind. Those side effects you get from something will occupy space in your mind, and it will jade your thinking, because the next opportunity where you probably ought to do something for somebody for free, you won't do it. And that could have become the opportunity that you really would have been able to leverage this bartering or the collaboration, right? So if you continue to not negotiate well what it is you're going to do for free, you're going to get burnt out. you're going to end up with a bunch of side effects. You're going to run into a lot of disclaimers. And at the end of the day, you're going to end up hearing a lot of apologies. And that's something I try to make sure at the end of my day, there is nothing to apologize for. And I have to be honest on a lot of things. In the blogosphere, especially in the blogosphere, we run into that a lot, and especially even in business. Once people become familiar with your business, you'll always be approached by people who want you to donate time, donate money, donate in-kind items, and you have to understand, especially there when it comes to in-kind items and it comes to time, you want to make sure that you understand you have to fully reimburse each expense of that, because that's coming out of your pocket. That's coming out of your inventory. And so you have to have some kind of way to reimburse that. So you want to make sure in negotiating that even if it's for exposure, make sure that you're going to get the proper exposure and negotiate that. Sometimes it's good. Those collaborations are good. Sometimes they do yield great opportunities from the exposure, but don't just take it on for exposure. Always counter with what it is exactly that you need. When we give items, we need X amount of exposures. We need some social media, because you want to make sure that you're going to get some results and outcomes. What are your outcomes? And always have something to counter in the negotiation of doing something for free and doing something for exposure. A lot of times, if you're that person where whenever somebody asks you something, you're the yes, you're the immediate yes, you're the immediate okay, you're the immediate I'm in, I'm all in, and then at the end of the day, you hearing some apologies, some disclaimers, and you've got some side effects. Then if you've ever felt side effects from any of your collaborations, then not necessarily is it them, it might just be you. It could possibly be your negotiation. There's nothing wrong with it, especially if it's going down in the DM. You know how you get a DM and there is the ask. Write that down. Ask. There's the ask staring you in the face. And if that ask instantly gives you side effects, then don't answer. Okay? Then don't answer. But if you've done it, you've said, okay, I messed up before, I know now, I need to hit this. It's got to be the event that we're gonna collaborate with somebody. They've got to have X amount of people. We've got to end up with some data. Can they give us some emails? Can they give us some phone numbers? Ask for something in exchange, and then you're gonna feel better in negotiating free. And especially if it's going down in the DM, because they've sent you this blanket copy and paste that they've sent to all the businesses that they know, all the bloggers that they know, all of everybody that's within the category who likes this, that, and the other, then you should immediately have your own copy and paste. We're always excited about opportunities like this. We require that the event have at least 200 plus people. We require that we at least get X amount of emails in exchange, and always have that. I love the word in exchange. When somebody inboxes me, and I get pitched all day, every day, Yalanda, can you post this? Can you put this on your blog? Can you share this on your Instagram? And the first thing I do is hit them back with, I don't even think about it, because remember, I don't want any side effects, and I'm good at negotiating that. In exchange, can we have, and that sends them back to their square one. It sends them back to the drawing board. If you are that person and people are asking you and all these different things, and you don't have your own standard start for negotiating and start for countering the ask, okay, then don't answer until you can clear to get that. I know what it costs for me to post something on my website. I know what it costs for me to drive to something. I know what it costs for me to send some goodie bags or some products, or I know what free cost me. So I know that I have to fully reimburse each expense. So I know that when you promise me you want me to do something in exchange for exposure, well, that exposure has to be at least X amount of people, okay, or X amount of impressions on if it's online, X amount, not just putting everybody can put your logo on their social media or their website and those kinds of things. There's some standard things that people always offer, but in exchange, I mean, at the end of the day, is it going to get you? So there's nothing wrong with considering to do something for free or considering to do something for exposure. It's in your ask. It's in your exchange. I always say that, and start it off with, in exchange. You can say yes, you can say sure, but don't let that be the end all to your answer. You want to make sure that you go yes, but yet not but yes, yet in exchange we require. And that lets people know, number one, you're professional. Okay, that lets people know that you are professional and you're serious about it. Now, sometimes I'll take on an opportunity for free if I know that it's going to leverage me some content that I can then use and monetize that content. Oh wow, this is going to be a little bit some timeless content. I can later monetize that. So I look at what it's going to cost me, what are my expenses to do it, and how can I recoup those expenses, reimburse those expenses, and then beyond reimbursing the expenses, can I then still earn some type of revenue, write that down, revenue from it. You should see my notes. I would love to see yours. In fact, if you're listening to screenshot them, send them to me. All right, so my notes at the top, I've got free, FREE, and I've got fully reimbursed each expense. I've got monetized revenue, exposure, I've got mindset, I've got ask, apologies, dislike, and then I've got side effects. We talked about side effects in a number of series that we did over on Periscope. So I'm glad to bring that conversation over here to YouTube. And in this one, 27 Answers to Negotiate Free. How to respond when somebody asks you to do something for free. Understand that every time from this point on that you hear the word free, you think automatically fully reimbursed each expense. And I'm so glad that I finally have a team around me that understands that. So when they ask me to do something, when their ask comes in, I know that it will include an exchange. Any ask should also include an exchange. Squeeze that in somewhere on your notes. I'm squeezing it in on mine. Any ask should always include an exchange. Anybody that asks you for something and they don't have, write this down, offer, it doesn't include an offer or an exchange, then they're not taking you serious. They're not taking you serious. They're not taking your bottom line serious. And they are, in essence, write this down, undermining your business model. Yes, people will undermine your business model all day long. Undermine your business model. But you got to ask yourself, is your business model clear and concise? Is it something, did they just really just step all over your rug? Did they really just overstay their welcome, come on in and bogart your business? Would they walk into a big box store and undermine the business model up in there? Would they approach somebody that they deem professional? And sometimes you can ask them, who would you consider the professional? Mindset. You got to know where person's mindset is. That's asking you to do these things. Have they asked others? And sometimes you can ask them, have you asked any others? And they'll tell you, they'll say, yes, we have an ask out. We have an ask out to this person and that person. Because you want to see you're in the company of who? Who else did they approach? And what did they offer? And just let them know, we might want to match what you've already received. Who else have you asked? Just to kind of give us some idea of how we can assist you better. And people will let you know who they're working with and so forth. And you want to understand why people came to you. And this is another ask, and I always ask people this: how did you find us? How did you find, especially if the ask is the first introduction? And usually, sometimes it is, because, people can be observing you from afar. They could have gotten to you by a recommendation. And this is where you have to be really careful when you do something for free, because if you're good, people will make a recommendation, but you want to make sure that they make a professional recommendation and not just go out and tell everybody, well, I got such and such to do this for free. Why don't you call them? They do this for free. And then people call you, and then here you are trying to quote them a price, and they're going, well, you didn't charge them, and okay. And so that's more of somebody undermining your business model. So even in working or doing something for exposure or doing something for somebody because you value your first time working with them and doing something for free because you can reimburse each expense, you want to make sure to say to them in the advent that they will make a referral, please make the referral with understanding that you do normally charge for what you are providing for them in kind and in collaboration or for exposure or for free, that you only select X amount for the year. So another part of negotiating on the free is that you want to when you still want, even though you're going to do it for exposure, even though you're going to do it for free, you still want to make sure that they have an understanding of if they're going to make any kind of referrals. Here's what we're doing when you're explaining or coming to some type of agreement, especially because now remember, at the end of any negotiation is an agreement. So you want to have an agreement with them that, and kindly make sure that people are aware of this so that they don't undermine your business model. You want to head these things off at the beginning. You want to make sure that they understand what you're providing for them is not something you do out of the ordinary. It's not something that's really like a part of your business. So if they make recommendations that here's what your price normally would. So in that agreement, just sending over kind of a memorandum of understanding where we look forward to, we're excited about this opportunity. And this is, again, speaks to being professional. Here's what we are going to provide from our business and services, and free at no cost. And also you want to list what it would cost. List what it would normally be, because you want to keep people to the level of understanding that this is your business, that this is your business model. Because again, you don't want any negative side effects. You don't want to have to, offer any disclaimers, and you don't want to have to do any apologies, because when you take on these situations like that, you get burned. And when you get burned, it messes you up for the new relationships that you can establish. Because now, just like in a regular relationship, you've been in a bad relationship, then you become overly cautious. But you become overly cautious at a time when you should be comfortable, right? Because this is not the next person is not trying to take advantage of you. And just because, one relationship went bad doesn't mean that they all have to be bad. Yes, you have to learn how to cover your bases. Yes, you have to learn how to negotiate, but it's just basic common practice of being able to speak up for yourself, being able to speak up for your business and others, that are represented in what you are doing. So 27 answers to negotiate free can become something easy. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of receiving the ask in my inbox. And when I get that ask in my inbox, I look at it. And sometimes I answer, and sometimes I don't even pay any attention. I just scroll on by it, because sometimes you can end up debating with people. You're like, why am I debating with them? First of all, they've already intend to undermine my business. There's no respect there. And first of all, and this is an initial introduction. Your initial introduction, you have an ask without an exchange. You have an ask without an offer. And I look at it and I'm like, okay, what is it they know of me? And if they were referred by somebody else, I look at, well, how did my encounter go with them? Are they undermining my business model? Or did they just not understand that this was a business and this was a business model? Like I said, it goes across the board, from the blogosphere to businesses, to service providers. It's just everybody encounters this, especially with the internet and especially with social media. Social media, not necessarily social media, but the internet per se. And because there were a number of people, in building their personal brands and in different things like that, there are a number of people each and every day willing to do something for free. And I have to tell people that all the time. Yes, you can go somewhere, you can get that done for free. Okay, or you can go pro. Bottom line. All right. I have to, you build to the point of negotiating your worth. And the way that I gauge whether or not this is a good negotiation or not. How does it feel? Do I feel any kind of just, side effects? I don't want any side effects. Do we have to put any disclaimers on this? How many disclaimers? Do I need to write a book of disclaimers? Okay, we're going to arrive at 8 o'clock. We need to start at 8 o'clock, not 9. We're offering 4 hours. Please do not extend yourself to 6. Different things like that. And apologies, at the end of the day. I'm so sorry, I know we promised a table and we didn't have it for you, because a lot of times, you're running a situation like that. I know we promised to put your logo on the banner and it's not there. It's like, really? So those are some kind of things, but don't take one bad experience on into your next. Don't do that. Just like they say in relationships, don't take one into the next. Let it go. Close the vault on that one, and just try not to make those same mistakes again. I hope that we have been very helpful in giving you 27 answers to negotiate free, fully reimburse each expense. Just remember that in doing something for free, that everything has an expense. Every single nothing in this world is free. Everything has an expense. And if you have something or you're doing something and you feel like there's truly no expense to it, you might want to go and negotiate with yourself a little bit more, because everything has to be reimbursed, monetized. And looking at my notes, exposure is okay as long as it's going to get you the results and the outcomes that you need. When you receive an ask, make sure it has an exchange as well as an offer, and negotiate everything. Negotiate everything. We often hear that, in negotiation, women often say yes and thank you, and men always ask for something a little bit more. I have found that taking on that, asking for a little bit more, I normally get it. And then you're like, when you ask for a little bit more of whatever it is, when you just go count even the best offer, what you think is the best offer, because that first offer is never really the best offer. But when you counter and you get it, and then you're like surprised and you're wondering, well, how long did I go without, just by asking for something. I had somebody asked me to come and cover something. I'm like, well, can we get some parking? Because some of the events that we go to, that we cover, they offer up valet parking. They offer up meals and those kinds of things. And so you just want to make sure in every ask there is an exchange, there is an offer, and always make sure that you negotiate everything. Make sure that you don't have to deal with apologies, disclaimers, and side effects. And people will, the more that you negotiate, the more that you get your negotiating skills up, people will less undermine your business model. On that, guys, this has been Yalanda at DryerBuzz, and of course 27 Answers with your new 27 Answers, and that is to negotiate free. I hope that you are enjoying this series. If this is your first one, check the playlist, especially if you're on YouTube. There is more. If you're on our answer blog, 27answers.com, there is more there as well. We're going to keep them going. I love giving you these audios and giving you these little tidbits, and these are just conversations that we've had at various workshops on various stages, and of course by bringing you the 27 Answers to Create Buzz, as well as the 27 Answer series. And I'm so excited to do this part. So already we've got a number of them out there. Do enjoy. Send me your feedback if you have any questions. If you'd like a little bit more to help implement these things, I do offer a one-on-one, and you can purchase a one-on-one, whether you want to do it over the phone or a meeting, or if you'd like to attend some of our upcoming or scheduled workshops or boot camps. We always do a boot camp towards the end of the year. So you can check that out also at 27answers.com. Have a great day. Hey, it's Yalanda, SuperBlogger, DryerBuzz of 27answers.com by DryerBuzz.com. Just reminding you that each of the podcasts you are enjoying has accompanied ebooks to go along to help you implement what you are learning. And also there are more answer podcasts available. You can check them out on the answer blog for free at 27answers.com, or just continue to enjoy right here on our YouTube channel at DryerBuzz. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.